At this time, the chair lays out House Bill 1769 and recognizes Representative Bonin to explain his bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. The committee substitute.
Yeah, you have a committee substitute?
Correct.
Okay, the chair will lay out committee substitute to House Bill 1769. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. The committee substitute for House Bill 1769 involves our alert system. Since the establishment of the Amber Alert, the state has expanded its alert systems to include seniors, law enforcement officers, and persons with intellectual disabilities. These alert systems have proven successful, yet there is no system in place for a missing or endangered adult between the ages of 18 and 65. Texas adults, and especially women, face the threat of violent crime, but lack the support of an alert system like Amber. Texans who are too old for an Amber Alert and too young for a Silver Alert are left stranded in the gap. The committee substitute for House Bill 1769 creates a real-time alert system for missing adults, filling the gap in protection and providing vital information to first responders in helping to save lives. The committee substitute strikes language involving persons living with disabilities. A person with a mental or physical disability would still qualify for an alert as an adult, but cannot be the subject of an alert solely because of their disability. The substitute also adopts language offered by the Texas Department of Transportation that will protect the department from any potential loss in federal funding. There was similar legislation by Representative Rose, who has joint authored this bill, and in the previous session she was able to pass it favorably through this committee, and I would ask for your favorable consideration. I'm happy to answer any questions you have and would like to reserve the right to close.
Members, any questions for Dr. Bonin? All right, we'll get our witnesses. The chair calls up Allison Steele.
Thank you for hearing me. My name is Allison Steele. I am representing myself, and I am testifying in support of this bill. I am the constituent who brought the issue to Dr. Bonin. I'm the mother of 19-year-old murder victim Kaylee Mandati, and my daughter illustrates the need for this bill because her death involved a known suspect transporting her in a known vehicle in a known area that was full of the TxDOT electronic message boards that are used to broadcast these types of alerts. Witnesses reported to the police what they believed was transpiring in her case, but nothing could be done for two reasons, and quickly I'd like to draw your attention to both of them because I think they're both important. Number one, as Dr. Bonin noted, there was no legal way to issue an emergency broadcast alert for her recovery. She was a college student. She was 14 months too old to be considered for an Amber Alert, and she didn't fit any other existing alert profile. Number two, the very fact that we have no adult alert, implies that adults don't really get kidnapped. It suggests that something maybe magical happens around age 18 that suddenly eliminates or at least reduces that risk. And of course that simply isn't true. By coincidence, we happen to be meeting here on the anniversary of the kidnapping and murder of Laura Smither of Friendswood, Texas, whose killers confessed to murdering 4 females with additional ones that are suspected. That serial killer did not target children. He targeted young females, and he did not appear to care which side of age 18 they happened to fall on. The takeaway is this: not only will House Bill 1769 provide a response option for those cases where adults are abducted, it will help to raise awareness by updating this paradigm. Adults do get kidnapped, especially females. On the morning of February 14th of this year, about 90 minutes after this bill was filed in the legislative tracking system, a man attempted to kidnap a woman at gunpoint on the San Antonio Riverwalk. There were witnesses, pictures of his vehicle were taken. The woman fought back, and thankfully she escaped. But if it had turned out differently, and if he'd managed to drive off with her, that would have been yet another case where an adult alert would have been called for, but would not have been an option. Strengthening the system will also help serve as a strong deterrent to future crimes of this type, especially kidnappings. On my version of the 1769 one-pager, you can see a pull quote right here. Suspect saw the alert and turned himself in. These alerts are widely recognized as being very effective, and criminals who otherwise might try to scoff at law enforcement suddenly can become very humble when they realize, hey, there's millions of Texans who are also looking for me now. The mid-March alert referenced in that quote was also unique because it led to the recovery of a kidnapped woman. The suspect had kidnapped children at the same time, which allowed for the amber to be issued. What might have happened instead if only the woman had been kidnapped at gunpoint? In closing, during the research that I did for this bill, I had the great privilege of speaking with a large number of other crime victims advocates, some of whom were very accomplished, including Brandy Billy, who's the mom of 19-year-old college student Ashanti Billy. She was kidnapped and murdered just 7 weeks before my daughter. At a point in time where I couldn't really get off my couch, the Billy team had already gotten the United States Congress and Senate swinging into bipartisan action to pass the Ashanti Adult Alert legislation, which President Trump signed into law on New Year's Eve. Obviously, my first question to Brandy was, how did you do it? How did you manage to accomplish so much so fast? And she said, you know what, it really wasn't as difficult as you might think, because there was already a consensus among lawmakers that the time for this legislation has come. Others had tried, the momentum wasn't there, and the laws were not made, but now its time has finally come. Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, I think the same is true here in Texas with the Ashanti Consistent Mandate that we are creating in House Bill 1769. Its time has come. Thank you, and I'll be glad to take questions.
Members, anybody have any questions for Ms. Steele? Thank you very much. Sorry for your loss, and
Thank you.
Thanks for coming up here and talking to us about this.
Thank you to the committee.
The chair, what else? Who's there? The chair calls up Beth Alberts.
Thank you so much. My name is Beth Alberts. I'm the CEO of Texas Center for the Missing and the director of the Houston Regional Amber Alert. I come here today to support this bill representing the Houston Regional Amber Alert and the Texas Center for the Missing. I've served as the Amber Alert coordinator in our region for more than 18 years, the longest of any of the 86 Amber Alert coordinators around the country. And so I know firsthand that these alerts work. We've issued 190 alerts, that was our March alert. We've issued 190 alerts for 231 children with a 95% success rate. I just want to tell you a quick story about how I know that this system works and saves lives. We had a 15-year-old girl named Emily lured, enticed away, if you will, by an adult male. He picked her up in his car, drove out of town. We issued an Amber Alert quickly, and several hours later, they were located 150 miles from Houston because of the Amber Alert. When he was arrested and taken into custody, they searched his car and his backpack, and in that he had guns, knives, chains, handcuffs, stakes, camera, computer. Clearly, this alert saved that child's life, and I have no reason to believe that this alert would not do the same for vulnerable adults. According to the FBI and DPS here in Austin, 52,000 persons were reported missing last year. 12,000 of those are adults. Since inception in 1997, 941 children have been recovered due solely to the Amber Alert. So I want to encourage you to support this bill and support Allison Steele and her mission to make a difference for what happened to Kaylee. Thank you.
Thank you. So repeat that statistic. You said 400?
So 941 abducted children have been recovered because of the Amber Alert since its inception. The Amber Alert was conceived in Dallas-Fort Worth area in 1997, and Houston was actually the second plan in 2001.
And these 941, that's statewide?
That is actually nationwide.
Oh, nationwide.
Nationwide. But of ours, 231 just in the Houston region.
Houston area. And that was, you said 95%?
Yes, 95% success rate, which is phenomenal, considering this is the most vulnerable abducted children. The most vulnerable of missing children are abducted children, so it's really phenomenal. So I've seen it. It's successful.
Members, anybody got any questions for Ms. Alberts? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Is this the next one?
Yes.
All right, the chair calls up John Jones.
John Jones, Chief of the Intelligence Counterterrorism Division for Texas Department of Public Safety. I am neutral. I'm here as a resource witness.
Members, anybody got any questions?
I'll ask him.
Yeah.
Could you elaborate a little bit more about how this would work for your department?
Yeah, so right now, when there is an Amber Alert or a Civil Alert, it comes in through the State Operations Center, through through county judges, and also law enforcement peace officers make the request. Our analysts that are part of the Texas Rangers, support the Texas Ranger analysts that follow underneath me, they go through a criteria process to make sure that it meets the criteria for the Amber Alerts, and that would be the same situation we'll do for this one once that criteria has been developed and identified as far as the right process. We will get that, receive it, and then we make our recommendation to the State Operations Center to issue Amber Alert, or we need more information, and that's where the analysts come in. They're able to maybe grab additional information that we can help out with the Amber Alert or in this new alert system.
Have you evaluated other states and how they implement this yet, or were you waiting for us to pass the law? Have you done any research for us?
I have not, ma'am. We have not done any more research on past this. We were just making sure we had the process and the capability to be able to do it, which we already do.
You have the software, the staffing
Mhm.
to just change your criteria, basically.
Yes, because we are tasked with doing it right now.
Okay.
So with the missing persons clearinghouse, that falls underneath us, and that's one of the major databases we do. So when those people come missing, we're also putting them in the missing clearinghouse database too.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Do y'all have access to the boards? The
Yes.
components?
No, the State Operations Center does, and they give that to TxDOT, and TxDOT.
And
then-
text on that. Does it do it in regions? You just do it, hey, this is in Houston, I put it just in Houston
You can do
region?
it.
or-
You can do it both, regions or statewide.
All right, thanks. Members, any other questions? All right, thank you, sir. The chair calls up Dale Avant.
He's not here.
Okay. Is that all right? All right, the chair calls up Andy Kant.
Good evening. I think I started in the morning, but that's fine. My name's Andy Kahn. I'm the Director of Victim Services and Victim Advocacy for Crime Stoppers of Houston, and I'm here in support of House Bill 1769. I'm wearing several different hats today. I'm here representing Crime Stoppers of Houston, but I also serve as a board member of Texas EquiSearch and as a board member of Parents of Murdered Children and Surviving Family Members of Homicide. All have given me their proxy to support this legislation. I can tell you right now that it's very simplistic. We just feel the passage of this bill will simply basically enhance public safety. And that's what we're about. This could save somebody's life simply by sending out an alert. We see no harm in allowing law enforcement the discretion to determine whether or not the threshold of any adult that might have been the victim of criminal conduct to have the ability to activate the alert and enlist public's help. The public is our best eyes and ears out there. They can be of enormous asset. The Kayleys of the world deserve whatever we can do to hopefully prevent a tragedy. Whether it would have prevented it or not, we won't know until we can actually activate an alert in which adults who've gone missing as a result of criminal conduct can be enhanced. So I would certainly urge this committee to pass what we feel is a very important bill to enhance public safety and give Kaylee's life a lasting legacy that will last for eternity. And I think it's very important that we look at this. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, any questions? All right, thanks a lot.
You bet.
All right, that concludes the members, the people that we had registered to testify. Is anybody here willing or wanting to speak for or against House Bill 1769? That we recognize Representative Bonham to close.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. I know it's been a long day and you still have some work to do. I really do appreciate your efforts. The technology exists. This system is already up and functioning. There's no fiscal note attached to this legislation. and it does have the opportunity to save lives of Texans. So I would respectfully ask for your support, and if possible, unanimous support to send this to the local and consent calendar. Thank you.
All right, thank you,
With
sir.
that, I close.
The committee substitute is withdrawn. With no further objection, House Bill 1769 will be left pending.